been a minute, YouTube, or if you're new to this channel, it's been no time at all. It's Saturday afternoon, and you know, that kid doesn't even have a shirt on yet, and she's still in her pajamas. Because that's how we do it. This is sort of an impromptu video. I keep getting emails, and this is the time of year, I guess, that these emails will come through from folks that are either afraid they're going to lose their job, they want to quit, or they're not being asked back next year. I thought I'd just make a quick video about this because I have a couple of ideas about this, and I know what it's like to even get a bad observation or something. Like, you start beating yourself up, you start like thinking you're not as good of a teacher as you really want to be, or that you thought you were. And this might even be a weird thing to talk to your friends and your family about. Like, if you're not getting asked back, like you went to college, you went through all the training, you took all the tests, you did the interview, you got the job, and now you're not being asked back to your job for one reason or another. My take on this, your take might just be completely different, but it's real rap with Reynolds, not real rap with Tim. Tim, I'm sure you're a very nice man, but here's my take on this. First thing I would say is, you know what? Being let go isn't always the worst thing that ever happened, right? Maybe this is, as some people would say, a blessing in disguise. And this is why I think that. Because how many relationships or friendships have you had in your life that have just not worked out? But it's a good thing you didn't hold on to them. I've been in any number of relationships where I was dating someone that I'm pretty sure I'm glad that didn't turn out. Not that I'm looking at them on Facebook and seeing what they're doing now. But there have been friendships that I've had in the past that have been toxic, that haven't worked out, and I'm better for that loss because something else has come along to either fill its place or to bring some kind of newness into my life that I never even saw coming. And I don't think that's just some sort of optimistic, hippie, woo-woo kind of stuff, but I think there's actual validity to that. Sometimes things happen and we don't know the reason, and then something else comes along. It's really just making room for something else. One of my favorite poets, Derrick, says, "Losing is pregnant with chance." And I just have always loved that idea. And so that's how I choose to go at it. Here's what I would do if I was asked not to come back next year. One, I would ask why. And this can be a weird question, right? Because some schools don't really want to give you the real answer, right? They want to give you some kind of coded answer, or, we just don't think you're a good fit at our school, or we're looking to go a little bit of a different way, or we need someone with a little bit more experience than you have. Those are not very telling answers, because what are you to do with that? So what I would do is ask, well, what don't I have? Where could I grow? Can you give me some information on who I am and on what you witnessed in my classroom that would help me to grow as a teacher and as an individual, so that in my next job I can find better success? Asking that question does two things. One, takes you off the defensive, right? You're not coming at them with a fight. You're actually looking for some intel as to how you can become a better teacher. The second thing you need to do with that, though, I'm not sure if those two things go together, but whatever. The second thing is you have to really... There's a shirtless lad walking behind me. Excuse me, son. I'm in the middle of a deep thought here. Whatever. I'm on spring break and I'm not at school, so this is how it's going down today. The second thing is you have to really, really listen. I heard someone once say, your success in life is predicated on your ability to have awkward or uncomfortable conversations. Have those conversations, but then really listen and don't just think about what you want to say next. Really take it in. Whether you feel like it's true or not, sometimes other people know us better than we know ourselves. So take that in and really digest it and see if it's somewhere that you can grow from. And what this will do is perhaps it gives you an area to focus on. Perhaps you realize that you didn't really pick up on the fact that your classroom management wasn't so good, or that your organizational skills were weak, or that you weren't connecting with other teachers, or you weren't connecting with parents. Maybe finding a mentor, maybe going back to an old teacher and asking them for help, maybe finding a teacher mentor, maybe watching YouTube videos, maybe finding a book that speaks to you, that's going to help you to grow in ways that you never thought were even possible or even existed. These are all ways to kind of go at this with that sort of growth mindset that people are always talking about, instead of just getting beat down. And I think it gives you an example to be for your students too, that one day you're gonna help someone face the same situation, a student or another teacher, and you can speak about how you were able to handle this hardship with this sort of growth mindset instead of just being beaten down by it. There's nothing wrong with being beaten down, but you have to get up at some point. Or, I don't know, I guess you would just be down. That gets uncomfortable. Don't be uncomfortable. And so going into your next job, you know that this is something you can do. You can kind of reinvent yourself in that way and better those skills and then just do a better job at your next position. The second thing I would say that I guess I would do is, one, don't beat yourself up too much and don't build yourself up too much either. I think we have a tendency to do both of these things where we just like beat ourselves up and I do this all the time when I don't do well at something. I don't like hearing criticism even after I've asked for it. It's like kind of like asking someone to punch you in the face and then getting upset when they punched you in the face. But I think a lot of us either have a tendency to do that or to not listen to anyone, to think that I was the best, I was doing the best, there's no reason they should have fired me. And instead of like taking a step back and thinking, maybe there's a kernel of truth even in there, right? Maybe the whole argument isn't true, but maybe there's something in there that I can look at, and that if I can face it, then I can grow from it. I think the third thing that I would do is take a step back also from your situation and really look at it. You might want to entertain the idea that, were you teaching the right grade? Were you teaching the right subject? Were you teaching at the right school? Did you have the right position at all in the school? Like, maybe a co-teaching classroom is where you would fit in better. Maybe as an aide, maybe as a tutor, maybe as a counselor. Maybe you really wanted to get into teaching and the actual teaching wasn't your strong suit, or maybe and it was the student relationships, or maybe the student relationships lacked, but it was the content that you really wanted to get across. But the school that you were at, the kids were doing too much all the time and you never actually got to convey the content or your love of the content. And so maybe switching positions or schools would be better for that reason. You know, I don't watch sports, but I'm gonna use a sports metaphor anyway. I could want to be a basketball player with all my might, but in high school, I was so bad that if I hit the rim, they gave me a point. All my friends were on the basketball team, so I played basketball every single day, and I sucked. But even loving basketball, if I couldn't play basketball, would I be willing to coach or to be an assistant coach or a strength trainer or a physical therapist? Or what could I do on the team to still be a part of the team, still be in that world that I love so much, but not doing that job that I thought I wanted to do? Because quite honestly, sometimes you get into the thick of it and you realize, I'm not sure that this is for me at all. But I still love education. I still love young people. I still love English or history or art. What else could you do with what you've learned and with who you are to really still impact the world? And for you first year teachers out there, if you taught and it was your first year and you didn't get asked back, or you realize that this is not the job for you, more than anything, I would say, please have patience with yourself. It's really, really important. Teaching is a craft. I say this all the time. It's like cooking. The first time you cook, if it sucks, you don't just not cook anymore and go back to top ramen and waffles all the time. You should eat that crap. Eat that crappy food that you burnt and you made too mushy, or you left it in your new oven for too long and your pieces of chicken came out looking like jerky. I'm not saying that happened last week, but it happened last week. But eat it and let that fuel your desire to have better food. Let your getting let go or not having a good year fuel your desire to do better the next year. And if that's someplace else, then that's just how it's gonna be. But you could still be the greatest teacher ever. At the end of the day, we're in this for kids. We're trying to impact children. And so wherever you land, there's going to be a kid that you can impact, that you will show up and you will be someone for them. So maybe teaching abroad was great in the pamphlet, but it ended up being a nightmare. Maybe teaching in the inner city was not your jam. The classroom management was too tough, or there was too much turnover at that school. Maybe that private school required too much of you and you didn't have enough time for your home life or for whatever else you need to be a healthy individual. Reflecting on your moment, reflecting on yourself, reflecting on your strengths, on your weaknesses, on what you could do next is the most important thing that I think you can do in these moments. You take a deep breath and you step back and you realize you're still breathing and you're not on fire. I think that you're gonna be all right. And if you're not sure if you can believe that or not, just, I told you so. That's why you should believe it. You are wonderful just the way that you are. Go find a place where your puzzle piece fits into the right puzzle. That's it, guys. Peace.
For more teacher resources, check out our Amazon store. You can find the link below. Have a great day, everybody. Also, don't forget, you can also check out Reynolds Gaming You can find that down in the link below too. So, bye everybody. Peace.